My name is Cressler. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been a member of the National Speleological Society since 1980, and my NSS number is 24392. Well, photography for me has been a sort of a lifelong interest. I mean, I got my first 110 film camera when I was a kid and took hundreds of pictures with it. Photography is probably my only real creative outlet, and I sort of take pictures, I would say, more in the documentary style than I do as a creative outlet, because I mean, I like to take good pictures of something that I'm documenting, but I like to take pictures of something that if I go to the internet and try to search to find an image or information on it and I can't, those are the kind of things I like to take pictures of. I consider myself an enthusiast because I'm enthusiastic about a lot of these things, but I have no formal education. Everything that I know I've taught myself, or I've learned from somebody else that I respect. That includes photography. Nobody really taught me. I mean, I've been around people, I pick up things, but I've learned most of this stuff myself, just through trial and error. I don't know if this is just a byproduct of anyone that can have 11,000 images online, or just myself who has 11,000 images online, but it's immensely popular, so I have to imagine that it's, that at least it's somehow respected. I used to run into some criticism that my cave shots were too lit. I was taking a cave and turning it into a lit environment. Now, I really like that myself, but I started following that criticism and actually trying to creatively use shadow, keeping it looking like a cave, but creatively lighting it. You look at my photo stream on my website, you don't see a whole lot of cave formations on that. I like to use water, and I like to use passage shapes, and so that's still how I'm evolving. Caving is a risky activity. I agree with that, but I don't think that caving is necessarily as risky as any other aspect of outdoor recreation. I mean, you can trip and fall on the surface. You can fall down something on the surface. I mean, caving is just another environment where you can do it. I don't think it's necessarily any more dangerous than any other particular activity. It can be if you have parameters like water. Okay, particularly lots of water, or everybody thinks a cave is going to collapse on them, and they will. They can collapse. I've had experiences where I've been in caves that have collapsed. I was in Tennessee one time, and the entrance of this cave was sort of unstable looking, and we rappelled in about 70 feet and went through some cave, went to an internal pit that was over 100 feet, And while we were waiting on people to climb, there was this horrible, horrible noise you could just feel through the rock. And we all thought to ourselves, I wonder if the entrance just collapsed. Well, we got back and found that the entrance had collapsed. And I was unfortunately the first person who went up the thing, and nothing else happened, but yes, it can be dangerous. I first went to Jess Elliott probably 20 years ago, and just to explore it. I went there in the late 90s specifically to look for cave art, because I remembered it had a nice big flat ceiling, and that's a media that prehistoric man often liked to draw on. So I went in there, started shining my light at an obtuse angle to the ceiling, and sure enough, I started seeing lines. And then as I looked more closely, I found that there were recognizable images in it. So I contacted my professor friend Jan Schimmick, and I said, you got to see this thing. And so we started looking at it, and it's just an amazing array of images. I think we cataloged about 300 individual images among the massive lines. So that makes it one of the larger art caves in the southeast. How much am I in nature? Almost every waking moment. I sort of live and breathe it. If I'm not sleeping, I'm either out in it, mostly taking pictures, and when I'm not out in it, I'm mostly inside processing pictures of nature that I've taken. When I was a little bitty kid, as early as I could walk, my father had me in the woods because he was a geologist for the U.S. Geological Survey, and he had me out in the woods with him all the time, and I was pretty well able to keep up, and I pretty much attribute him for my real love of it. People spending more time in nature is a difficult question for me, because as much as I think that that's a good idea, there's too many fucking people right now, and if you started having more people out in the woods, you can already see the effects of it. Things are particularly popular things are just grossly overused and abused, and I don't agree with that at all. Our governments, whether it be state or federal or local, just don't put enough money into protecting the areas from overuse. So, sort of a catch-22. I think we have definitely lost what's natural about us, because as much as we all enjoy the most recent technologies, video games, smartphones, internet, that's what's consuming people now. People don't really want to go outdoors, and I think they are losing touch with it. I think man is definitely a curse for this planet. If I meet somebody who is interested in learning about caves, my best suggestion to them is to get proper training, and there's several ways to do that. There's several books on the subject, and they're good books. There are also numerous cave clubs. Almost every major city has one or more cave clubs, and people can get involved in that, or just start with a group of friends that actually know something. I think too often people who go underground don't have proper training, and that's when we have problems underground, like people who spray paint and who break things and who collect things and generally abuse the environment. Part of the caving community likes to protect caves through secrecy. I don't. I think that's not right. I think that you need to protect caves by education. There's virtually no recruitment of young people these days into the caving world. You go into a lot of these meetings that people have, it's like hardly any young people in there. It's just a bunch of old geezers who's sitting around telling everybody how great they used to be. I could do anything in the world, what would that be? Boy, I guess to continue to explore caves in Southeast Asia. I had my first taste of Southeast Asia about 4 or 5 years ago, and I've been back twice, and there's just something special about those caves to me. Southeast Asia is a big place with a lot of caves, and I would like to continue to explore Southeast Asia. The ultimate dream for me as a caver is to explore caves as long as I possibly can. There's been an evolution as far as me with caving, is that I started out early on, all I could think about was just original exploration or doing as many caves as I can. Less so nowadays. I like going to caves and looking at them a little differently. I like looking at what's living in them. I like to take pictures of them. And before, I wouldn't be slowed down by something like photography because it's just, kept me from doing what I wanted to do. Some of my mentors are in their 60s and 70s and they're still caving, and I like to be doing the same thing. Some of them have slowed down quite a bit, but they're still doing it.
Great.
I feel definitely more connected with nature. Just an easier thing for me to relate to. I know it too well. It's just part of me.